scrap. A belt is on the line. We got Alexander Volkanovski, aka the Great, taking on Chan Sung Jung, but you know him as the Korean Zombie, and he's coming off a nice win over Dan 50K Ige, and that was good to see because it had been, about a year layoff. He had lost that really close, tough fight to Brian T City Ortega, and see him get back to his winning ways over 50K was pretty sweet because 50K Ige is no easy out for anyone, and it was a good win for the Zombie for sure. And he's won 3 of 4, right? He picked up a nice win over Frank Yeager, beat Renato Moicano before that, and the loss before that was to Yair Rodriguez in a fight where if he doesn't get hit with a YOLO up elbow with 1 second to spare, then he might actually won that fight too. So really impressive resume for the Zombie. He has, however, when he's gotten to the pinnacle, he's fallen short a couple times, right? He definitely did against Jose Aldo in his first featherweight championship attempt, and you wonder if this one is going to be any different against OGM, who 23-1. He's a minus 800 favorite, which I think is kind of insane. I thought the line would be much closer for this one, but what do you can't expect too crazy stuff when the guy hasn't lost in basically a decade. He's undefeated in the UFC. The only close contests have been against Max Holloway. I mean, there were those threatening moments from T City most recently when they fought in September, and there was some precarious situations for OGM, but ultimately OGM did pick up a decisive unanimous decision in that one. So, what are your thoughts on how this one plays out? Do you think the Zombie's going to bring anything that the Great hasn't already seen, or is this another title defense for Volkanovski? And I don't know what this guy is going to take for to get some respect on his name, but maybe the Zombie is what people people start to respect him.
Yeah, no, this is an amazing fight. Props to Zombie for getting this. Sad to see this isn't Max versus Volkanovski again. That is another fight I'm dying to see. But man, we gotta put some respect on Volkanovski's. If everyone's sleeping on him, nobody likes him for some reason. That's how it feels. That's how you don't really see his following. His follower base is very small. Social media. His UFC cards are so cheap. I mean, this dude's undefeated in the UFC. Has like you said hasn't lost in a decade. His value is just absolutely insane. This dude is potentially the GOAT. I mean, Usman hasn't lost in the UFC. Izzy hasn't lost in the UFC, but then those two are above him in the pound for pound list. I don't know. It's very kind of bizarre. Who knows what's going on over there? But Volkanovski's definitely one of the greats, if not the great, right now in current MMA and in the UFC. But man, it's a tough test. Zombie's no joke, and he's been looking better and better. It's almost like T City baptized him, and now he's been looking sharper than ever. So I'm very excited to see this. This stylistic matchup is very great. So I'm very interested to see how Volkanovski handles this. But honestly, I think he actually might get a finish. I think he's gonna knock out Korean Zombie and just show I am Alexander the Great, and y'all better put respect on this name. And I'm hoping to see his cards go up in price because he just well deserve it. It's crazy to see that. I don't know why people just don't really seem to like him or hyped on him like a lot of other people.
Yeah, it's always interesting when a guy like Volkanovski has a relatively cheap card price writ large. I mean, there's unproven rookies who are 10x as expensive as Volkanovski, who, as you mentioned, is literally one of the greatest of all time. So always fascinating to track that. And I'm with you. I hope that if he does get this done, that his price sees an increase because this is a guy that hopefully people have been getting some low key steals on at such a low price because he's a true legend in the game for sure. Whether he should be atop the pound per pound list, it's not the craziest argument for me to be honest, because again, this is a guy who just every fight he's in, he seems to dominate unless it's against Max Holloway. You touched on the stylistic matchup that this fight brings. Do you anticipate this fight playing out on the feet primarily? Is either fighter going to find it in their best interest to take this thing down to the mat? And how do you see this fight just playing out? Is it well rounded or mostly on the feet?
I think it's me maybe a well-rounded. I think Volkanovski. I mean, man, he's savage, and his fight IQ is on Peter Yan level. I mean, goat level status type stuff, and I think he's gonna use anything he can or sees opportunity to. But I think he's gonna keep it on the feet. But if he sees it, he's gonna pin him against a cage, throw some elbows, throw in some knees, take him down, ground and pound. I don't see honestly, the zombie being a threat anywhere except for an absolute meat bomb, and Volkanovski miscalculates and eats a nice little steak for dinner. That's the only way I see Zombie winning. I don't see him getting a sub or any dominance on the ground. Volkanovski's just so dang strong, so I think he will manhandle if it hits the mat.
Yeah, great stuff. And I saw Volkanovski on Embedded eating steak dinners there, so you wonder if it's more to come for him for sure. I don't know. In this one, I'm with you all the way. I'm gonna pick Volkanovski, but something within me makes me a little bit too nervous to even mess around with this one, just because I think minus 800 is kind of unreasonable. I think Zombie has a chance in this fight. Something even is inside of me that is saying, "Yo, boy, pick the zombie." But ultimately, I'll roll with you. I'm going to go with Volkanovski. I like him to likely win a decision. I think that Chan Sung Jung can survive, and the longer this goes, the more Volkanovski will be able to assert his dominance. I just think Zombie is going to be tough to put out, and ultimately, I like the Great to win a unanimous decision. But just like you, cannot wait for this matchup. And yeah, any last thoughts on this meat event?
No, such a great fight. Throw in the comments who you got. You got the champ or the challenger? Let us know in the comments and make sure to smash that me and subscribe.